David Dollar is an expert on Asian economies at the Brookings Institution, a Washington, D.C. based think tank. Thanks for being on the program, David. How significant is this growth that we're talking about? And really talk to us about the significance, not just for China, but for the global economy.
It's quite significant. This is the first time that China's GDP growth has accelerated in quite a few years, I think 7 years. It was not a big acceleration, but it's still very encouraging to see this trend. China's imports were up by almost 20% last year, and that's evidence of how this kind of robust growth in China has spillover benefits for other economies, all kinds of suppliers of commodities and machinery and parts. So I think China's acceleration is part of a larger global recovery. It's very positive.
So if you had to point to one factor that's behind this growth or trend, as you would say, what would that be?
Well, I would say the most important factor behind China's growth is consumption. Consumption is expanding at a very healthy rate. It's really the foundation of the economy now.
David, is there a downside to these numbers?
I think the only downside is while consumption is the main driving force, there's still quite a bit of investment. You in your clips, you heard a reference to the pretty strong infrastructure investment last year. And a lot of that's necessary, but it's backed up by debt. So the one worrying thing is the growth of debt in the Chinese economy. It's rising faster than GDP, and that can't go on forever. So the government really has to take account of this increase in financial leverage.
Talk about your prediction, if you have any, for 2018, opportunities as well as risks.
Right. So the safe prediction for China is that it's going to continue to grow well. Probably a little bit slower than last year because 6.9 is at the high end of China's potential. If they rein in some of these financial risks, growth might slow down to 6.5. But there are a lot of uncertainties in the world, including U.S. trade policy. So I would say there's a lot of uncertainty around the estimate for 2018.
China's retail sales are forecast to surpass those of the U.S. for the first time in 2018. What do you make of that?
Well, China's on track to become the biggest economy in the world, so we're going to see a lot of these firsts. China replaced the U.S. as the largest importing nation not long ago. It'll have the largest retail sales, and within 10 years or so, it'll have the largest GDP. I mean, it has 4 times as many people as the U.S., so I think this kind of trend is pretty much inevitable.
And talk to us about quality of growth versus the number. I mean, quality versus quantity are both equally important.
Yes, and it's very healthy that China is growing based on consumption now. Consumption is primarily services, so you see the service sectors are becoming a bigger share of the economy. They're less polluting, they're less energy intensive, so it's easier for China to pursue its environmental goals as it's making this shift to more consumption-based economic growth.
David Dollar, thank you so much.